really does work. Environment matters. And so today we're going to talk about the environments and a few different ways that you guys can ask questions in order to figure out what environments you really truly want to be in and how you want to go about creating those, whether you're creating them for yourself, creating environments for other people, or trying to figure out what environments you want to put yourself in. And what I want to start off though, as always with these calls, is either a win from your week this week from you guys. Maybe you guys have been working on the list of 300 goals. I want to hear how that's going. If you guys have been working on it, if you're new and haven't heard that, no worries. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But love to hear from you guys first, and then we'll get into it. And then Femi should be joining in a little bit. She's currently out volunteering. It's pretty sweet.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen there too, because I think I told you why I like my purpose of going there, my desire to, and then like just to see what's going to happen when I go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life changing. Like any event, any trip, events change lives. And I fundamentally believe that environments, online events, in-person events, they change people's lives because we get new ideas, new thoughts, new connections, and we're allowed to do more with what we have. And we can make better decisions.
That's what Mexico did for me, was expanded my mind. I was like, being somewhere where your dollar goes really far and you live like I lived like a king for 5 days, and it's like, oh, like eating the best food, like having the best experiences, and you're like, oh, this is really cool. Like, and then yeah, it expands your mind and you're like, I want to recreate this over and over and over again. I want this to be my life. Like, yeah.
That's so cool. I love it. And yeah, that totally does. Like if anybody's not experienced where the US dollar is super strong and where the other base currency, that experience blew my absolute freaking mind. But we just really get this entire, we went out to dinner with like 8 people. Drinks, appetizers, food, nicest place in Mexico. The whole bill was like $250.
Yeah. It was like,
It's like
yeah,
peanuts.
it was like 400 Canadian. And I was like, that's insane. Like
It blows my mind. But those are the experiences that if you guys stick around long enough, you will have, and it will change your life because it's perspective, it's awareness.
I tell everybody about that experience too. And they're like, what? Like you guys, I'm like, there was a Rolls Royce like
Yep.
dealership below us. We were eating, and it was like 8 of us, and it's like, yeah, my like appetizers, like two entrees, drinks, and you're like, this bill is only like
Yep.
$400 Canadian. Like,
Big time.
like I couldn't take I couldn't go out to eat, like take a girl out to eat in Red Deer
Correct.
and it
It's
would
like
be
two.
like over 100, like be over $100 for
Yeah.
like the same thing, like drinks, appetizers, entree.
It really
Like,
makes you then question what money is. Like that one experience makes you question what money is and why do we and how do we make it differently? What's the feeling around it? And it is something that we learn over time. So I'm excited for anybody else to experience that. And I definitely want to hear from Chris. I know he's got some big deals happening, making things happen for him. Happy to have you on, bro. And Raekwon, I haven't heard from you in yet. Femi, what's up? Who wants to go?
Hey, what's going on? Just listening in.
Yeah.
Just listening in. Yeah, I just finished volunteering. But yep. What is money, y'all? What is that?
Like what and why?
Yeah. Yeah, Mexico was amazing. Mexico was amazing. And just to have that experience, and like you said, you have to stick around long enough. Like you have to stick around long enough to get the experiences, not even to just get them, but give yourself the experiences.
That part.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
actually put yourself in that position, like, I'm gonna do this. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna step out my box, I'm gonna follow, because success leaves clues. And anyone that's successful, anyone that is on this entrepreneurship journey of being great, of doing, they will tell you the same thing. They gave themselves experiences. Whether it, you know what I'm saying, whether it panned out exactly how they wanted, or whether they completely got a brand new experience and expanded their mind and learned that there was a different way to look at things. So yeah, just listening in,
I
just
love it.
listening.
I'm excited. I'm excited. It sounds like we all have goals. We all have a vision for what we're working towards, and each one of you knows. I would hope that you know where you're going. As far as we've talked about C-type goals, we've talked about just overall vision and kind of like what we want to do. And if you don't know what a C-type goal is, we did do a YouTube call on that, so you can go back and watch that training as well. It's freaking powerful. Like when I really realized like it's about the feeling, it's about what we're going to, and it needs to be a goal that is bigger than we actually know how to accomplish, because that's the thing that gets us up, and that's the piece that makes it exciting, is not knowing the how, but knowing the what. What do we want? And one of the best questions that anybody's ever asked is, what do I want? What do you want? What does Chris want? What does Femi want? What does Rick want? What does Eugene want? What do you want? And it kind of goes pretty hand in hand with like, what kind of environment do you want to be in? What kind of people do you want to be around? And you can start to identify these people by character traits. You can identify people by activities. So it's like, who do I want to be around? What do I want to be around? What environments and places do I want to frequent? And one of the biggest things that I think is kind of like, I don't want to get too woo-woo because it's not really woo-woo. It's literally just like a feeling. Like if you have a good feeling about a place, that's a good indication that your entire nervous system, you're in alignment with what that actually is. That place, the people, it matters. And so if you walk away from an experience or an environment, and you're like, I feel off. I feel gross. I feel like ask yourself those questions. How do I feel about this? And for example, I walked into a gym yesterday, and it's like 5 minutes further away. It's a little bit more pricey than the current gym that I was at. And it's like I've never really thought about going to this gym. I had the idea Thursday night. I went to the gym Friday. I got the membership that day because of the feeling. and I had one of the best workouts. Met some really cool people. And I'm like, this is an entire different environment than the one that I was previously in. And it makes your goals, the environments that we are around can either add friction or reduce friction. And so that aspect of, I walked in, I was like, oh my God, I can see end goal me in some of these people already. Whereas the people that I was seeing in my current gym, not that they were unfit, but they weren't like in peak performance. They were just like some older people, some younger teens, some kids that are just like, they're just trying to maintain. And so the energy of maintaining health versus the energy of, I want to be in peak performance health. I want to be in badass shape. And it's funny because like the actual audio that I listen to every day to pre-play my day says that I'm a peak performance athlete. I'm a badass athlete. And so I walk in, I was like, these are my people. Like I need to be in this environment because those people are already there. I can see my future in them. And that makes so much difference in the way you go and operate, because environment, all it does is give us cues and triggers. And so if we can see somebody
Mm.
being it just in my 2 hour workout, I saw people doing some insane freaking pull-ups. Some guy jumping over here, some guy doing some crazy push-ups with like weights on top of him, his friends hyping him up. And I'm just like, these people are nuts. I love this. I absolutely love this. I'm like, they're crazy. But what do crazy people get? Crazy results. Because they're willing to do the things that most people aren't willing to do. And what do I get to think now? I can do crazy stuff. I can try stuff and fail at it in front of people and still not be that weirdo. Now, if I tried that same stuff in my gym, I would actually get in trouble for it. Like, there's like actual rules, like don't do that, don't do this, that. And so I'm like, your environment that you choose to put yourself in plays a big factor in the things that you can search can
Mm.
and cannot do. Um, what's one environment, Femi, as far as like that you've physically put yourself in that you're like, wow, these are the people that I want to be around. Whether it's church,
Mhm.
business, like what are some of the cues that you've acquired from that that you're like, now I
Mm. Yeah. And before I answer that, like what you said, that was a bar. Environments, you said either gives you news or triggers,
cues, cues or triggers.
cues or triggers.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you were saying that, just thinking about like all the environments that I've been in, the last week and how I was like, yep, not coming here no more. Yep, this is amazing. Yeah, I gotta stay in contact with these people. Like, and it's so true because it automatically happens. And for me, those environments, definitely for me, is one of them is church because it's a bunch of young adults. I mean, they're a little older, like 30s, 40s, but that's still young. Like,
So,
but it's also too like how they are mentally, and how it's like realistic. It's not this like, oh, this facade of, church makes you perfect. Like our church, we say all the time, we are imperfect, we are a mess, and we all just looking for God together,
yep.
and that's the vibe. You know what I mean? And when you're around people like that, the authenticity, which is the highest vibration that can go through walls, is what's needed. That's where you get to create things like, Eugene said in the chat, you're around that environment and you get ideas. You get ideas on how you want to pivot your life, how you want to get better, what you need to let go of, what's not helping you. And also to networking events and just being with my mentors. Anytime my mentors are in the city or I can be there, I can get there, I can travel, I'm going. Why? Because not only do they have what I want, they're doing what I want to do,
Mhm.
and they have a life that I want to do. I can still learn. You know what I mean? I'm not there yet. So who am I to think that I'm better or I know X, Y? No, I want what you want. I want what you have. And once I get there, maybe I can, come up with my own stuff and start. No, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I want to be around successful people that are, like you said, at peak performance. That means they're at peak performance in their faith, peak performance in their mentality, in their personal development, and also to their environment. Like they do not let anyone with any type of low vibration, any type of negativity be around them. Okay, so if I'm seeing that all the time, what do you think I'm doing? Anybody talking to you, and I'm like, skirt. No, sorry, can't have this conversation. God bless you, but I don't need any of that, right? Because our environment influences us. It's more important than your DNA, and it's exactly what you need to go to the next level. What environment are you in? The environment that you're in. So for me, it's just being around people that have more than me, that do more than me, that has wisdom, right? Wisdom is literally taking action and then getting the experience. That's what wisdom is. So they've taken the action multiple times repeatedly and gotten the results repeatedly. So guess what? They have wisdom. But that's what I want. So that's who I'm going to be around, right? And when you really just start sorting your your environment, you really get to see how, like you said, like you saw yourself immediately. You walked in there and you're like, yep, that's the future version of me right there. And that's exactly what those environments do, and it gives you the ideas, it gives you the next steps. And sometimes it's exactly what you need. A lot of times, you guys, we're always asking questions through the day, when we're alone, when we are in our room, we're asking questions, we're asking about things, and you're going to get the answers, but you have to be on the frequency. You have to have the awareness, the consciousness to receive the answers in your environment. But what environment are you getting? Because even if you're not in the right environment, it's telling you what you should not be doing, where you should not be, and who you should not be around. Not, and sometimes, you guys, these are the people that we care about. Point blank, period. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's your circle of friends, the people you grew up with, the boys, the girls, sometimes it's them. And it doesn't mean that you're better than them. And it does not mean that you don't love them, but you want better. So therefore, you have to seek better. So therefore, you have to separate to elevate so you can come back and help them and actually be a solution to where they are. Because at the end of the day, you guys, your environment, it shapes you. It shapes you, man. It shapes you.
I freaking love it. Here's a few questions that you guys kind of ask yourself. And feel free to like actually write some of these down. I'll put some in the chat. But it's like,
Yeah, I'll type them up for you as you type here.
When do I feel the most like myself? And these are like environment questions. Like, when do I feel the most like myself? And what am I doing? And who am I with?
What was the last one?
What am I doing and who am I with? And then another great question that you guys can, and some of this I would say write down these questions and then like truly reflect on them after the call. Because we can write down a few different things, but like if you really sit there and like start to answer these questions, you might just find something that was hiding in plain sight. Like a good question helps us solve problems. That might just be sitting right in front of our face. And then another one is, where do I keep showing up out of habit that's not in alignment with me?
I make this every day. So does that.
We kind of talked a little bit about the physical locations as far as the environment. But there's also the conversation environment and what we choose to speak about. And that conversation kind of looks like, oh man, I'm always with this person. We always have this conversation. And I don't really love this conversation. And I wish they didn't do this. Like, kind of. So you really have to start to see what conversations you have with what people. And if they're conversations you don't like having, you have to figure out a way to either stop momentum in that conversation and divert to another conversation, or slowly stop spending a lot of time with them because those conversations aren't going anywhere. They're not producing any fruit in your life. And so one of the questions you can ask is, what conversations am I having that feel like noise instead of nourishment? It's like, what's actually noise? There was at one point this week, somebody texted me, hey, how are you? I swear I didn't answer because I'm like, what do you want? Like, and that was my initial response, was like, what do you want? Just tell me what you want. Because I know there's something, but this, hey, how are you? Like, I don't want to have this small talk. Like, if you actually want to have a conversation,
Straight
tell
up.
me that you want to have this conversation. But the energy, it's all energy. Like,
Yep.
if you would have responded a different way, I probably would have a different response, a different feeling. But because they always have the same conversations, it's like, Okay, what? Like,
What if
what if okay, this one's good. Actually, so Rickon asked, what if one of the combos I have is my coworker and he don't know how to stop talking? Got it. There's always an environmental excuse. There's always another like back like in your mind. You're like, oh, I gotta go do this. Oh, I need to go to the bathroom. Oh, I need to get out of this environment from a physical standpoint. Now, if you're around them and you're physically around them and you can't, that is just stuck. You can literally just tell somebody, hey, I'm really either trying to focus on XYZ or
Yeah.
I literally don't like having this conversation. Is there anything else that we could talk about? Like being so clear with people, people are actually like, I get it. Like you don't have there's nothing wrong with being like, I love you, but we only ever talk about this one thing. And I don't necessarily love that conversation. Is there anything else that we can have a conversation about? And
Mhm.
when you're working with coworkers and things, there becomes so much like internal dialogue and like the interpersonal like communications, like you've either got inside jokes, you've got these things, like all this stuff. But if at any point it's just like you can literally tell somebody, hey, I no longer want to have this conversation. So if I ignore you, it's because it's that conversation.
Mm.
And it feels weird for all of 3 seconds and then they're done. I don't know if Vivi has another idea for that one as well.
No, I mean, I think being straightforward is the key, and it doesn't have to be in a mean way, but you have to protect your energy, your mind, and your space. And if you don't teach people how to treat you and how to respect your boundaries and how to speak to you and how to be in your environment if they want to be part of your life or your space, you have to let them know. You have to direct them. You have to tell them. Like, and it could be like, hey, I know you want to express or talk and whatnot, but right now I just want to focus on this. Right now I need some peace. I need some quiet. Like you have to be transparent because you're going through your own stuff. You got a bunch of stuff running through your mind, and someone yapping next to you, that's not necessarily like the best combo, and you have to be honest, like, hey, I have a lot on my mind right now. I don't really want to talk, and it's no offense. And you have to let the person know, like, I'm not doing it to harm you, but I need to respect you. And you and people not if you're not clear on clarity, you're choosing the environment that's being given to you. You have to have clarity because whatever you're allowing, you're choosing. So you're choosing that person to treat you that way. You're choosing that person to have that conversation or to feel like they can just be and just, and not even take the time to see if you can even receive what they're trying to drop on your lap. And that's kind of inconsiderate, you know? I'm not gonna always assume that, Grace is ready to talk about something. I'm like, hey, where's your mind at? Like, what's up? Before engage the conversation, but you have to just be clear. I agree. Just
I
be
think
clear.
there's another there's a step further to this that you can add to it, and it's called framing conversations. You set up this framework before a conversation. So like if it's, for instance, a phone conversation, you're like, hey, I really have to go at 12:45. This is what I should have done. And I failed at it today because I didn't frame the conversation. I was literally in the middle of a business meeting and I'm like, I know I have this call at 11, but I'm also trying to nail this stuff down and trying to do a few different things at once. I took on a lot more than I could chew, but I also didn't frame the conversation like, hey, I need to be done with this conversation by XYZ time because I have these commitments. And instead, we still got everything done, but I was a little late to the call and like because I didn't properly approach the conversation that I knew I was still gonna have anyway. Um, and so I could have done better at prefacing, hey, we can go get coffee, but I do need to be done by this time so that I can respect your time and y'all's time. And
Hmm.
it helps because then as soon as I was like, I was trying to like rush him through the conversation. I was like, yeah, like I'm focusing, but also like I'm trying to do this. And then I like pulled out my laptop while I was in the middle of conversation with them, and I was like, this is weird now. Like it's weird for everybody. And so I was like, oh, communication and framing conversations that need to be had also
That's
very
good.
valuable skill. And you practice, you get better at it. You don't get it perfect. Clearly.
Right. That part. Yeah. And like you said, I love that you said that. The uncomfortability, the awkwardness, it's only for a few seconds and then it goes away. You know what I mean? But like choose you. Choose you. No matter what it is, choose you.
We got that last
That was
question.
a
Yeah. What's up?
that was another like win for me this week was choosing me.
Good. Chose
Yeah.
you.
Just in with environment and realizing that I've been living the same, like you know how they say you live like a lot of people live like 1 year and then they just live it like 20 times over or like 30 times over. Yeah,
Big time.
Yep.
Live
that's
this.
what I realized. Like I've been living this like same. I lived one and I've been living the same year like 20 years over, doing what I am doing right now, and I was like, okay, I don't want this anymore. So this is what I want.
And it's like if
This
you
is where I
state,
want.
this is what I want, this is where I'm going. Do you want to come with me? Or I think
Mhm.
that's a huge piece of environment is this next piece. When
Yeah,
there's a difference between like joining environments or going into environments. There's also the idea of creating environments. Just like you created an
Mhm.
environment for your roommate to be in, like you already had the space, you invited him into the space. When we are creating the environment and the creator of the environment, who you choose to invite into that environment needs to match what you want to happen at that
Mhm.
place. So if you're trying to throw a tea party, you're not going to invite biker dudes. Like it just makes no sense. They're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like that was the first thing that came to my mind. Like think about two polar opposite things you could possibly do. You just wouldn't do it. Now
Right.
it's you have to get more nuanced with it when it comes to like information. Like people that think a different way. I choose to put myself in environments with founders and business owners because I want to catch. Timmy said it earlier. You catch what they're talking about. You observe different ways. The speed
Mhm.
at which founders move is like it makes my brain hurt because I'm like, oh my god, you just solved 10 problems, 15 fires, and you're just like, okay, let's get coffee.
Like, wait.
You're like, I didn't catch up. Like, what? Okay. So I'm choosing to be
Mhm.
uncomfortable by putting myself around
Mhm.
people because I want to catch what they have. The information and the insight that they have. And so same with when you're creating an environment for people, like you have to know what environment you're creating and you get to decide. It doesn't matter what it is. That's the best freaking part. You get to pick it. So if it's something that you enjoy, whether it's a skill set, thinking like movie character, like themed night, like you're not gonna invite somebody that doesn't like that stuff to that event. And vice versa. You probably would go to an event that wasn't something that you wanted to be in that environment. So all
Mhm.
these things matter. That was, as far as like
Mhm.
creating environments, I know Femi, you created some creative environments. Um, and what's like
Mhm.
some of the
Good.
so what's like some of the foundational pieces to creating like in-person environments?
Mm. I think the biggest one is what you said, like know what you want because your energy introduces you before you open your mouth. So if you have, let's say, we'll use Chris for example, being in life insurance, like being in that world and knowing and seeing how everything can quickly happen with like the type of commissions you can get. All right, your environment, your energy is to make your clients comfortable and trust you, right? That requires you to have your self-confidence and to know what you're selling, right? And it's the same thing for me and Grace, for the mentorship that we provide and the type of, students and business partners that we want. We have to make sure that what our what we're saying to ourselves, our confidence and our energy is there. Like the first thing is you. Like what is your energy and what is your environment mentally, right? Are you watering your garden or you pulling out weeds? Like what's happening? Because at the end of the day, you're going to send mixed signals, right? You're going to, how I don't know if you guys ever had this experience where you can tell someone is genuine, but it's like off. Like I know you're genuine, but it's just like
The
I
vibes
don't
off.
really know. Like I don't really know if I want to go that far or take that step or, because people immediately reject things they don't understand. It's human nature. The moment we don't understand, we don't know something, it's like, oh, reject. Like, I don't know. I've never been there. This is new. So,
Authenticity is the strongest vibe,
mhm,
is authenticity.
exactly. So you have to just make sure with you, with yourself and, what you're doing, you have that presence, with yourself. Because then now, after you, the next thing too is like the physical things, right? Like just how you dress, how you carry yourself, right? Like because some people will look at you and they're and you know what I'm saying that like they're aware they're enjoying your presence, but also too like they're paying attention to everything else you're doing. Like, you know what I mean? The simplest example that I can give you guys is someone's talking to you about something important and you're into it and you're like, wow, this is important. And they have a giant piece of bacon right here.
Yep.
You're paying attention. It's an important conversation, but you're looking at the piece of bacon in their teeth, right? So it's the same thing with your appearance, right? Your appearance and how you dress and what your environment is like, right? If you are wanting people to trust you, buy from you, whatever the case is, you're gonna, meet up with them in a hotel lobby, at a coffee shop. You're not gonna be like, yeah, bro, meet me behind the dumpster, let's talk business. You
Well,
know,
there's some business that, depends what
Yeah.
business you're talking about.
Depends on what environment you're creating.
Yeah, what
exactly,
environment
exactly what environment
depends
creating.
what your
So
business is.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? The first thing is you, and then after that, it's the physical things, about creating an environment. And then after that, it's knowledge. Do you know what environment you want? Do you know the ins and outs about the environment you're trying to create? What does that look like? What is being taught? What is being exchanged? What type of conversations are we having? Like, what is being said? What is it that you are giving that you're bringing? What energy are you bringing? What are you doing? What are we talking about? Because at the end of the day, let's say, you have the confidence, you have the mindset, you know what you want, you have that aspect, you have the physical appearance, and then you're just staring at each other.
No words said.
And and you know what I mean? And then it's your client or the person that you want to buy from you, and it's them trying to have you need to know what you need to know ins and outs about your environment. You need to know everything about your environment, what you're doing, what you're selling, what you're providing, what your service are, mentorship, whatever it is. Like, and it's with that with everything. Because think about it. Even if, on a romantic level, like you have to know what you want, or you're just gonna attract everybody. And when you go on a date, you're gonna be like, what is this? But you didn't specify. You said yes to everything. So you got everything that you didn't want. So it's the same thing, I believe, with creating an environment. First thing is yourself. Um, what are you saying to yourself? What's that conversation like with self and the confidence? Do you believe in what you're doing? Do you believe in you? Do you believe in the results that you want? Do you believe in what you want? And then it's the physical, what you're providing, how you're dressed, Are you looking people in the eyes? Are you having handshakes? Or are you looking around? Do you look distracted? Do you look disinterested? Are you interested in the people in front of you? Like, what is it that you're physically showing and presenting body language? And then the third thing is, what did I say? The energy, the knowing about what you're doing, whatever it is that you're doing, knowing about it, the ins and outs, so you can have that conversation, so you can bring value. You must bring value in everything that you're doing, and everything that you're doing, because that is ultimately going to either flourish your environment or it's going to dissipate, and people are not going to want to be around you or any type of environment that you grow, do, because they're like, yeah, there's, we don't do anything, we don't talk about anything because you don't know anything. You're not educated, you're not bringing value, you're just talking numbers, or you're just talking surface level things, right? You have to have value. You have to be in a space where you are educating and bringing awareness, you're bringing consciousness, like you're helping people grow and learn about whatever it is that you're doing. And then boom, the trust comes in and they're willing to, buy from you, et cetera, et cetera. But I think those are key components to creating your environment, know the energy that you're bringing.
It's so good. Man. I was just like, even today, I was like around a doctor,
Period.
two founders and another guy who's created like a content agency. And I was like, this is wild. Like, how did I end up in circles like these? And it's because of one connection that led to one connection because of one connection. And this is the beautiful process of hosting online events, going to in-person events. I met one guy at a content event 2 years ago that connected me with this founder for soccer, which connected me to this person for this. And I'm just like, all I wanted to do was go meet people for content. And now we have a whole ecosystem of friends in a circle that I'm like, wow, I actually really do like these people. I like the way they think. I like the way that they operate. And I always thought that I'd be around athletes, but actually, I love to be around creators. And so I had to really like figure out what environments I needed to be in and who I really liked working with, because there's a certain way that people operate. If you're around a bunch of accountants, I promise you they operate a different way. They're very strategic, they're very dialed in, they're very meticulous. You probably know the plan before you get there. You're around creatives, you get sent an address and a phone number, and you're like, I don't know who I'm meeting, but I'm just told to come here. Like, and people show up, and it's actually wild. The difference in people, it's also, they operate two different ways. One's not right, one's not bad or wrong or right. It's just what works for you. And you also get to help people in that process, figuring that out as well. And it is kind of important to tell people like when, where, but like give them something. But like if somebody asked me for a full-on itinerary, get this. The environment is so real. I have literally denied like working with clients because previously in our previous interactions, they have asked me too many questions and too many clarifying things, and they want too much information. And I'm like, that is going to be way more work than I want to do. I do not want to work with you. Love you. Love you. Here's my friend. Love you.
Referred.
You will be here. I don't want to work with you because I know I can't serve them, because I know that's going to be a terrible environment for both of us to be in. And so we have to get really good at understanding what we're good at, understanding the environments that we've created, and knowing where to put people and who they connect with and how that works. And that's obviously like experience, and that's really just sucking at it and being like, oh, these two people probably wouldn't get along. Oh, that probably wouldn't work. Oh, I didn't really like that. Like, I want you guys to like fail faster so you get that data. And that's good. Fail in your relationships, like you're gonna get it wrong, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you figure out how people operate and how they work. I don't still to this day don't understand how Femi and I work. Like it blows my mind because we're in so much sync that we don't even have to talk. And it's the literal exact thing that we were trying to do together. And we're like, how'd that work? I'm like, I don't know. I can't do that with anybody else.
So true. Synchronicity is crazy with us.
But it's that works for us, but that's not how it works for everybody when it comes to like partnerships and having things like that.
Mhm.
It's like what works best and what environment can you create for others. And if you know there's a personality, don't put them into an environment that they know they're not going to thrive in. Like that's just not doing them any service. You're not adding any value. You're probably stressing them out and they probably won't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I love that.
you can't do what you wanted to do and help how you want to help. Because we need to figure out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good.
So I
That's
think
really
that
good.
identifying how you operate, identifying the environments you like, um, cultivating environments that you want to be in, as well as bringing people into your environments that you create. There's so much to this topic, and I know we've kind of like dabbled in a lot of different ways this works. We could probably do a whole nother class on this one, just because
Oh, yeah, for real.
it's so deep. But environments is something to study.
I agree. I agree 100%. And one of the last things I was gonna say, you said it, like you have to know what environments that you flourish in, because then, and also too, you have to understand, because whatever you flourish in and when you create it, you'll help other people flourish. But if you don't know and you're winging it, or your impersonalities, like the same way we have love languages, it's the same way in environments. Like you have to speak to people in their love language, how they are comfortable in environments, how they perceive things. And again, like these are things that over time, repetition, reps, you're not gonna get it perfect, but like she said, fail faster sooner so you can get it. And don't hesitate. Don't let the fact that you failed, this conversation didn't go well, this sale didn't go well, or don't let that just stop you and slow you down. Like move faster. But all right, cool, that didn't work. What did I do well? What didn't I do well? What can I improve on? Evaluate and then pivot, you know? Yep. So definitely I agree, because this topic is a lot. We definitely can keep going. I know we went a little over. The
Yeah.
value was It was good. Yeah. But you can give the homework of auditing,
Yeah.
and then we can wrap it up.
We have some like auditing our environments is kind of the homework assignment for this week. So some of those questions that we asked earlier, make sure you guys have those written down. And auditing and
Yeah.
upgrading our circles. So my challenge for you guys is to write those questions down, answer those questions, but level up your circle this week. Go to an event. Go like go on to Eventbrite in your city and see if there's something else that you can go to. If the next person that texts you is like, hey, what are you doing? Like, what event is it? What next? Like, go to it. Go meet
Lean
them.
in.
Lean in this week to whatever invite you get, to whatever conversation that you get. If it's out of the blue, it's never out of the blue, guys. It's like actually meant for you. Like
On time. It's on time.
it is on time. And I just want you guys to be aware of that and like have that in the back of your mind that like the goal is to meet somebody new, to get maybe the event's not this week, but maybe you meet somebody new that invites you to an event 2 weeks. Just say yes, commit, and then actually follow through. And you don't know what's going to happen. Like the ambiguity is there, but be okay in that ambiguity and still do it anyway, because these are the pieces that actually allow us 10, 15 years down the road to have experiences that we're like, wow, how did I get here? Like those experiences. And that's your homework, is to audit what you actually want. Use those questions. Can be dropped them in the chat. And then see if you can find an event, or if somebody invites you to an event, whether it's online or in person, just take the offer. And this is the best thing anybody's ever said. Take the best, leave the rest. If it's terrible, oh well. You take the best from what that was and leave the rest. And if they're not your people, they're not your people. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But if it is, it just might change your life.
That part.
So I'm
I love
excited.
it. Yeah, I'm excited too as well, you guys. I'm grateful for all of you guys that came in, that stayed on the call. The people that are rewatching this on YouTube, we're grateful for you. Grace, grateful for you. Love does these calls. Thanks for holding it down while I was volunteering. I appreciate you. Yeah, this topic is fine. I definitely need a round two.
Yeah. I'm thinking if you gotta go for me, feel free to leave. But if anybody else wants to hop in and say like anything that they had from this conversation, then feel free to do so. I'll be here for a few more minutes.
Awesome. Sounds good. I got a jet. Love you, girl. Be great. Be intentional. You guys stay positive. I hope to see you next Saturday. Bring a friend. Let's get it.
But that's huge. I'm excited for you because that's a big deal. Finding more conversations that are nourishing. That's my goal with these conversations, is that there's a certain point in your week where you're like, wow, after that conversation, I feel good. Like, that's for me and I's whole goal, is to create an environment where people can come every Saturday and be like, wow, if there's 1 hour of my week that I feel good after, that I feel connected to, that I'm like, wow, we've done our job and I'm happy. Therefore, by consequence, people get to go out and experience their life on a different level than when they started it. Like, they started the call here, they get off the call, they're at least here. That's my whole goal with these, is to be able to put people in a state of increase so that they can continue out through their week. Because I know what that did for me when that was the 1 hour a week where I had somebody that was like, I'm going to speak life into you. I'm going to speak life into your goals, your visions, your dreams, and help you figure out how this works. And I was like, wow, this is so good. And I would be in the middle of work. I would be in the middle of school. I would be at a freaking soccer game with an earbud in, just listening to people that actually had the things that I wanted and really trying to figure out how they did it. And it was so life-giving to me that it was worth its weight in gold. And so I'm like, this is so powerful. All that to be said, we appreciate every single one of you, whether you're watching the recording, whether you're watching live with us every week. It's probably one of the most fun things I do that we get to do, and see you guys' journey. And I've seen so many different things. I've seen so many different faces come through these calls, and to hear the journeys, to hear the stories, it really, like, throughout the week, I'm like, how's Raquan doing? How's Chris doing? Like, what's up with Eugene? Like, I think about these things all the time because I'm like, man, there's so many stories, there's so many people actually in this world that really want to go do something epic. And I love finding people that want to do epic things with epic people in epic places. And so I couldn't be more proud of you guys. And we will see you guys. See you guys. Yep. Like, I couldn't be more proud of you guys and seeing the growth. And likewise, bring a friend next week and we will absolutely freaking crush it.